Welcome back to episode 5, engine removal part 2. Couple of little jobs left to do. Still need to detach at the top of the bell housing, undo the engine mounts, but I'm hoping by the weekend we have that engine out and on a stand right there. Let's get going. The fuel lines now, I can see there's two hard lines coming in. It was one in and one out, I believe, which trace along here around the MAF sensor along here, and then they drop down this side of the engine. One connector there which I can undo, and there's another one slightly further down, so I have those off, and I think that's the fuel line then removed. So it's both fuel lines undone now. Just zoom you in so you can see where they are. They come up, there they are there. They come up from the fuel tank, from the back of the car, along under the driver, up here, around the MAF sensor, then into the fuel distributor there, and then back. So it's a one in and one out. It's a CIS system, which means it's constantly flowing the fuel around, constantly sort of pumping it in there. Moving the power steering pump next. The reservoir is at the top there. Is this item here. It's empty, luckily, so that's good. I don't need to drain that down. Just take the pipes off, disconnect it, put it in a box. I don't know if the actual pump needs to come off itself. I guess we'll just see. It looks like it's probably going to be clear when we try and remove the engine anyway. So with the fan out the way, there's a lot more room at the front of the engine. But I think the air conditioning rad needs to come out. There's nothing really holding it in. And I'm just worried it's going to drop out and break itself. There's this little reservoir, I'm not even sure what it is, to be honest. There, that's held on by one pipe here, in there. Which I think if I undo that, the whole radiator will come out with that attached. I can just pop that on the side. It looks pretty tatty, so that's going to need looking after anyway. Then I guess I can take the fan housing off. This needs all painting up, so that might as well come away to be reconned. Then that's the front of the engine. Getting quite clear without the power steering reservoir, which was just here. The ignition coil was there. I've got to take this boy off. Again, I'm not even sure what he is. This one. That'll come out. And it looks like we could probably this ECU thing here as well. With that out, I think it looks like the engine's fairly clear to move forwards that little bit that it needs to. Looking forward to that, that'd be good. Then I've worked my way around that side of the engine. I've got to now come across the back. I believe there's going to be heater input and outputs coming from the cabin. There's the bell housing to undo, of course. I don't know what else is around that side. Then on this side, I'll have to have a look. I'm not sure there's much on this side to do. So hopefully we're nearly there. I'm going to try and undo that. The air conditioning radiator, which I really wish I'd done with the other radiator in place. Because now it's loose, it sort of wobbles all over the place. I'm trying to counter hold it, but hoping that this radiator will now come up free. I've undone the that bolt on the bottom, and it should just come out, but it doesn't seem to want to. Not sure why. Who's holding it in anymore? This is all undone this side. Years of being stuck together, perhaps. Not the wasp. It's There we are. Okay. But half the radiator fell apart in the process. I think it's really not in a good shape, this one. Let's take her out and have a look. There we go. Yeah, really seen better days now. Let's put it to one side with the other one. And this fan housing would be really easy to take out. I don't know if I need it out though. So I think I'll leave it in there in the interest of just not having everything sitting on the side. This boy, that definitely needs to come out. So let's have a look at him. Now just taking off the, what I assume is the ECU, or whatever it used to be called back then. It looks like this will be in the way when I pull the engine forward a little bit, so let's take that out. I am actually working down to check this, but I haven't looked at it for a second. It seems relatively easy to get out anyway. Gently ease the rubber cover off. See how it's connected underneath. Come on, I just don't want to break it. There we go. Plugged in like so. Dark in here, so I always try and keep the light above me. That means I'm constantly moving the light around. And he's waggling with the screwdriver, easing out. Sorry, I turned the camera off so I could concentrate on it. This is the ECU, whatever it is, unplugged. You can see the connectors there. It just pulls out, but I eased it out with a screwdriver just so I didn't break it. But you can just see there aren't any actual sort of clamps or anything holding it in there. It just sort of pulls out. It's quite a grubby lump. So I've now undone the collar and slid back the flex plate, which is right, hopefully you can see it there, so close. I've also undone the lower bell housing bolts, which you can see there, hopefully you can see that clearly. And the, I guess it's a starter motor ring has dropped down, which I assume is okay. Now the lower bell housing bolts are out. I'll try and show you the upper ones, which I need to remove, which are pretty much there, I believe, one. And the second one, if I can find it, is, that's good, deep inside, about there, deep inside, difficult to see from here, on the, so that's the bulkhead side of the engine bay. Hopefully I can get on those with my socket set. Looks like I probably can, but before I do that, as I understand it, when I undo those, the engine could tip back a little bit, so I think it's getting close to the time to assemble my lifting crane. You can see the front's pretty much stripped out. I may take the power steering pump out because it looks very tight. Just as I lift it up, it looks like it's going to clip this edge here. and that's the same on this side with the air conditioning pump there, and I think that's the alternator there. Whether they'll actually clear this bit here looks pretty tight, but I'm tempted to try and then just see. I can always pause and take it off. Today's jobs are detach the starter motor wire from the engine mount. This goes across the bottom here, supports the engine. The starter motor wire just dangling down red there. It's attached, it's bolted to the engine, so if I try and lift the engine out, apparently it lifts the front of the car up, so we don't want that. So I've disconnected that. I'm not sure if there's another connection, like another bolt holding on underneath the engine, but we'll have to wait and see. Then I found these two red wires dangling down. They are, someone's wired in a ignition switch bypass. Presumably the ignition switch is broken, or they couldn't get it to work or something. But there's a switch in the interior that just is hardwired to the starter motor, so I guess they just turn it on and off. But we'll untangle all that web later. Then sort of moving on to the engine suspension, one of the last jobs, which looks as simple as undo this side. There's another one on the other side. We'll undo that, and I think that's all you do with the engine suspension. Earlier today I took out there's a vacuum hose, little hard line that goes from the top of the plenum chamber across to the top of the gearbox, automatic transmission. Mine wasn't attached, funny enough. I took it off the plenum chamber, and then the rest of it was just loose, so I've taken that out. In the tangle of pipes that are down here, it looks like the air conditioning pump needs to come out as well, so it's just a couple of nuts. There's one here, or bolt, sorry, one up the top, one in that top corner there, and it seemed like it would just drop out, one out the back there, and which I'm just undoing now, and it looks like the whole thing just drops out, but it's these pipes that will foul. There's some hard lines just above it, and they won't fit past, so that's coming out now. So just before lockdown I went back to my parents, and my father gave me some of these really short spanners, which I thought I'm never going to use, but if you get on the back of that air conditioning bolt, there's a nut right deep in there. You can just see it in here, and the spanner's about this long, 17mm. It just fits in there perfectly. Who'd have thought? Back to the luxury of space. I've moved the 911 out now so I can build the engine crane. I've got to move all this junk out of here, and the engine's going to stand where that plant is. It's too cold for the plant to go outside at the moment, but as soon as it's warmed up a bit, that'll go outside. But I think what I'll do is move it in the house for the moment. I'm just starting to size up how we get this bad boy out. Got the crane leveler or lift lever there. I'm going to build the actual crane here. I'll probably do that today, across today and tomorrow, and then we'll try and lift it out on Monday. Okay, I think it's pretty clear I'm not going to get the engine out this week. It's Sunday already, and I like to try and keep my weekly cadence of videos. The crane's built, the engine stand's built. You've not seen that yet, but it's tucked around the back of the car. All I can think of is undone on the engine, apart from one throttle cable, the engine mounts, which I won't undo until the crane's in place holding it up. I've just got to take the top of the bell housing bolts out. They're already loose. I've heard if you undo them, the engine can rock. So I left them in for the minute, and then that's it. Just lift the whole thing out. So that should be easy to do. I'm not at work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, so there's plenty of time. So join me next week when that definitely will be coming out. Remember to click subscribe so you know when I release a new video. Hit that little bell icon that gives you a little notification, and see you next time.